Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Lock, Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor and Konner.
Hey!
Disc golf is back. We had a disc golf tournament last weekend known as the Supreme Flight Open down in Florida, and we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about from it. We'll do a little Trevor's trivia. We have a little Manufacturers Cup update, a big, actually, Manufacturers Cup update because we changed how the Manufacturers Cup is done. And we'll give you a little update on where we were this past weekend down at Disc South in Dallas, Texas. So, packed episode. Buckle up. If you're driving, I hope you already are.
You better be buckled up.
Yeah, you should buckle.
It's not just the law; it's for your safety and your own good, John.
That's true.
Buckle up.
Come on, John.
But before we get into all
Buckle
that, take a moment to thank our sponsors. BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, college basketball, NHL, UFC, head to BetOnline today. And don't forget to use promo code BLEAV for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
I'm really liking the way you're chanting that. You know, there was the Hershey Bears, the minor league hockey team I grew up near. When they would when they would score a goal, everybody would chant B-E-A-R-S, Bears, 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 and that's what it reminds me of.
B-L-E-A-V, believe.
I'm glad that you really brought me home with that.
You're welcome. You know who else brought it home?
Who?
Ella Hansen in a three-way playoff over Evelina Salonen and Holland Handley down in the Supreme Flight Open. And this answered the question we had of, now that Ella has a win under her belt, could she perform under the pressure? And
pretty well.
Yeah, in the playoff, back-to-back Eagles to take it down, which is impressive.
For
sure. So to paint the picture, basically, the final back nine is where all the drama started happening. Holland Handley was up 2 on Evelina and 5 strokes on Ella Hansen. So Ella was somewhat out of it going into the back nine. Never fully out of it, especially this course can get tricky. But it seemed like it was going to be a Holland and Evelina fight. Holland missed a putt on 10. And
it was a bad one. From
my opinion, it seemed like this just shook her because her putting didn't all of a sudden get terrible, but her overall play just got a little scared. Like she started fluffing forehand. She just kind of got a little skittish.
Yeah, I would say the funny thing is, I mean, she didn't put herself in a ton of positions to have to make super tricky putts until later, but then she actually did make a couple good putts later on. So yeah, it wasn't just that, her putting got completely shot. It really was, some backhand throws, but mostly the forehand that let her down. And, as we get to the playoff in particular, that was the difference was Ella Hansen was just mashing forehands all over the course. And she also made some clutch putts, but it was not, this was not the typical FPO, I shouldn't say typical, but we've seen in the past a lot of, everybody throwing it away. And there were moments, but I think they were not as severe. And when one person was throwing it, there was another person kind of jumping in, and it came in smaller doses. That's more normal for just a pressure tournament because there's always going to be mistakes made, right? Especially at this course, there's so many breaks you can have. So I thought this was, Holland misses that putt, and you're like, oh no. But then it was just shaky. But it's not like it just got thrown away all at once. It wasn't all at once. It was just her slowly losing control and Ella, really applying pressure, and Evelina really, and honestly, Macy Valdiaz was in it until a little bit later on.
Yeah, because Holland ended up off the fairway on 12, 13, and 14, and then she was OB on 17 and 18.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like, she just corrects a few of those, she wins.
Right.
Evelina, as you just mentioned, was right into it, and her putting was very solid the first 2 rounds. Actually, there was posts going out of uh-oh.
They jinxed her.
Evelina's putt's back. Watch out, people. And then it just cracked down the stretch.
And she was 92%, 83%, and then 46%.
60. I think it was 60. It might have been 46.
It was poor. It was poor.
It was not great. She missed putts on 11, 12, and 15 with some that were pretty bad in there. I think there was at least one airball 15 footer.
Okay, here's at least partial credit to Evelina. First of all, she did putt well the first 2 days. That's encouraging. I'm sure she's encouraged by that. But also, there was 2 or 3 times in that final round where she missed that first one pretty badly, that first 15-footer, and then made the comebacker. And that's maybe a situation where last year Evelina misses the comebacker as well and loses 2 shots instead of 1.
Yeah.
And when you throw as well as she does, you can obviously, she got herself into a playoff. You can survive when you're such a good thrower of this. You can survive missing those birdie putts. You know, when you're throwing it well and you're missing the short birdie putts and then making the par, you can hang on like that. You know, it's not necessarily going to get the job done, and that's eventually what she ran into. Although the putting didn't necessarily it
was
cost her
46%. You were
46. Right. It cost her in the aggregate in that tournament, but it wasn't. You know,
she still got herself into the playoffs.
I'll say it wasn't ultimately the shot that lost her the tournament.
Yeah. And then Ella, on the other hand, just played a clean back 9. I mean,
it was some of the better golf I've seen her play.
Statistically, she missed an inside the circle putt on 14, but very tricky putt, guarded putt. She didn't really. So you take that out, like even hole 12, it looks like it was where she ran a circle 2 putt that left her in circle 2 and then hit that to save the par.
Yeah.
Which at that time it didn't feel nearly as consequential as it actually ended up being, because she was able to birdie.
That was a sick putt.
3 of the remaining 6 holes in, but the only thing of like she could have won it in regulation was she threw OB on the approaching hole 18.
Yeah.
That was really the only of like Ella Hansen could have won it in regulation, but she went OB on 18.
And she was in really good position because I mean that hole is like the classic example of what that field has to struggle with, because like, you know, it's no secret. You look at the top end of that card, these are players who can throw far, right? And they did other things really well, but like that was just, it wasn't that was the most important thing, but you had to have distance to be able to succeed at that course. And you look at that hole as an example. Number one, you know, if you have a good forehand, you're getting in position to eagle every time because it's not that difficult of a shot. You really just have to get the right height and throw it straight. And then number two, just throwing up that cliff. It was difficult for some players. And if you weren't, like, a lot of people would have to lay up just to get as close as they could to throw up that cliff. Like there were some demanding shots there.
Yeah, and as much as it felt like it came down to putting down the stretch, like because we talked about going into this tournament that this was not that putting didn't matter, but it didn't matter nearly as much as it will later.
Yeah.
And like I said, it felt like down the stretch because you had Holland miss a bad putt, you had Evelina miss several. It felt like, wow, putting is what matters. But if you look at it statistically, not even close to true. So Ella Hansen won the tournament actually losing 2.22 strokes on the field putting.
Exactly.
Evelina came in second at 1.3. Gained. She actually gained strokes on the field at 1.3.
That's crazy.
And Holland Hanley gained 2.7 strokes on the field putting. If you say who led gained putting, overall was actually Paige Pierce at 7.93. But she lost the tournament by 17 strokes.
Wow.
So again, if your throws were off, which apparently for Paige, I didn't look in the rest of her stats, I just looked at that. But I'm sure for Paige there was something else off. I mean, part of it she threw OB 6 times. So if you're not putting the disc in play, putting doesn't matter, which is kind of what we had said coming in.
Great forehand either.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I mean, the forehands that were being spammed on the back half of that course in particular, like it was very crucial.
Yeah. So like we said, it came down to putting in a sense of between the 3 best throwers of the disc that weekend, putting mattered to them. But in the sense of the whole field, it didn't really amount to much of anything at the end of the day. But to go into a playoff, and Ella Hansen, so the playoff format here, which we'll talk about in a second, was just hole 18 on repeat. So it's a 680-foot par 5, down a hill, back up a hill, and you just had to turn around, walk back down and back up. First time they play through, Ella and Holland both eagle, Evelina bogeys, Evelina's out.
Which was really disappointing because that tee shot, like I said, was not rocket science. It was really just making sure you didn't let one slip like Holland had in regulation.
Yeah.
And Evelina, I mean, she had been throwing it pretty well at that point and just completely shanked it right. And all she has to do is get that in play, and she can hang with everybody else.
For sure.
So that was disappointing.
I wonder, Evelina, let's actually see how she played hole 18 across the tournament. She went birdie on the final round. She had a bogey in the second round, and she had a eagle in the first round.
I said even
a little
on
bit
the
all over the
bogey,
place.
She probably just won OB because like there is.
Yeah, I'm sure
there's OB.
It's pretty hard to bogey that hole without going OB. Yeah. Especially round 2, she was putting very well.
Yeah.
So we can see she went OB.
Yeah, most people were either going OB, just leaving it short on the cliff, or sawing it off and going right, which obviously is what Holland ended up doing.
Yeah, and then Holland, second time through. Ella went eagle. Holland, second time through, had the bogey there for Ella Hansen to win it in the playoff, which was a very impressive win for Ella.
I thought that playoff hole, is a good playoff hole in the sense that there is a lot of separation there. You force a dramatic second shot to that elevated green. I do think it was a little intense that they had to, I mean, I wasn't there, but I'm assuming there was a decent walk both to get up to the green and the teeing area.
It's 700-foot hole, and it's like down and
That's
up.
what I'm saying. So that having to play that, if they had played that anymore, that would have been brutal and also been very time consuming.
Well, they played it 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah. Like that's the one thing about that.
What are your thoughts on
in
general, just playing for a playoff one hole with, obviously, whether it's this one or not, just one hole on repeat?
I don't mind it.
I don't really like that.
I don't think I do either.
Oh, I don't mind it. I think if you have a hole that you like as a designer. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say like that hole was maybe the perfect hole. Although I don't like the holes leading up to that one. I don't think were like I think a playoff hole should have separation, but I like it to kind of be a showcase hole. And I don't necessarily know that the ones leading up to that. I guess 17.
Well, I think part of the problem
17 would have been electric in the playoff, but the problem with 17 is without the pond, it just didn't look as fun.
Yeah.
But that would have been a good playoff. I probably would have done 17, 18 on repeat.
But still, now, yeah. I like there for crowd watching purposes being a loop. And also for time. So, like, if you can, not every course lines up, but, like, if you can go, like USDGC, they replay hole 18 and they go 1, 17, 18 on repeat. Like, that's beautiful.
Well, but
one you could definitely skip. It's not a great playoff hole, although Paul won it on there. But it is very good of, like,
logistically, logistically it's perfect, but, like, one is not a good playoff hole.
Yeah,
so, like,
but it's just a good flow.
I think that... Yeah, you do have
I was just thinking emotion-wise, if I was a fan standing at 18, this happens, we have a playoff, okay, they finalize the score, they walk back. Like, there's so much downtime that it's hard to keep that, like, emotion high, I'm focused, intensity.
That's valid.
And even on the broadcast, we were down at Disc South, so we didn't get to watch it live. We only got to watch it on Jomez. And on Jomez, it's easy to keep that because it's just they're right back on the tee. Right. But on live, it's not like there's other disc golf to cut to.
No, it's a hike. Yeah.
It's just like there's a lot of just downtime. And especially that hole where you have to walk down and up, and just a 700-foot hole in general.
They could have gone. I mean, like I said, the problem with FPO is you
run into MPO
because, like I would say, 18-1 wouldn't have been too bad. Because one's a pretty good hole. There's separation there. You have a tricky death putt situation. But yeah, I don't know. I think in the perfect world, you just have a course where the finishing stretch / first few holes rock, and you can make a loop. I think that is good. But also, you know, you would never hear me complain if a hole just was like I think at Vegas at Wild Horse, did they repeat 18?
They might have. I can't.
I'm trying to remember if they did or not. No, I don't think they did because I think where Gannon eventually lost was not on 18. He lost. I think
they went back to 18, replayed it, and then went to 1.
If you've got the right hole, it's not going to bug me a ton, but it is. I think it's ideal if you have multiple awesome holes. It's ideal to be like, okay, we're going to give you literally the best of this course in its own little showcase.
That's what. If it's possible, I also like it being a variety where it's not like. Right. You're going to play hole 18 on repeat, and let's say that this hole 18 I don't think necessarily gave an advantage all like to one person over the other. No. But like let's say that it was a like forehand advantage, and you just could run into a situation where it gives a player a like easier path. I don't know.
I mean, it's sudden death, so it's,
but I'm just saying if you're playing one hole on repeat, then statistically, if you have Nate Sexton versus James Conrad on a forehand hole, Sexton's eventually going to win. Yeah, statistically.
Well, we'll get to it in a minute, but forehands did not matter for him.
No, as we've seen several times. But anyway, final thing I want to talk about is just your overall thoughts on Ella Hansen's performance and specifically her being able to win in this fashion of coming from pretty far behind, getting into the playoff, holding it together in the playoff, and walking away with the win.
Yeah, it was a great win. I think that the big question mark with Ella is, you know, I hope she's able to really kind of cook on this early part of the tour because I think that this is where she can thrive. She throws it so far. When the putt's working, it's good. But, you know, there were lines that had to be hit on this course, some low ceiling shots, a lot of blind shots. Like there is technicality to this, so it's not just about throwing it super far, although that did help on a lot of holes. You know, a lot of those par 5s and 4s were being cut very short by some of those players. But, yeah, I think she'll have a lot of opportunity early in the season at the more open courses. I'll be curious to see if she can kind of keep the ball rolling and maybe even take that momentum further because, you know, she's always been pretty talented. Ultimate background, has good touch, really nice scramble forehand, like a lot of skills there. I think a lot of it has really been between the years. So, I mean, there's no better way to start off your season than getting a win and alleviating so much expectation and pressure because somebody like Ella, might be going into the year thinking a win this season would make my season pretty great.
Yeah.
So that
I already have that.
Exactly. You know, we saw what that did for AB last year, another player who was looking to alleviate pressure with a win, and it makes you feel a little indestructible. You're going to go into the next tournament thinking, hey, worst case scenario, I've already got a win this year.
Well, what's also nice, I think, in Ella's case is she won back at OTB, and whenever you're a player who has been in situations like she was in Waco, where there's questions on like, can she even win?
Yeah.
And then you get a win. Well, then sometimes the narrative changes to, was it a fluke?
Right, yeah.
So to already start the season off with, yes, your first win of the season, but also your second win and like your validating win.
And you know,
of like, I'm not just because there's some players, let's face it, who have won a pro tour that if we said their name, you'd probably be like, how the frick did that person win a pro tour?
Yeah.
And you can fall into that if you just go a long time without winning again, which Ella with this win, now she's won 2 in a span of what it would be like 7 months if you go all the way back to OTB. And what impressed me with this specifically was she wasn't under a lot of pressure from my eyes on the back nine when she was kind of just quietly doing her thing. But when it came down to like 17, 18, like crunch time, she was able to birdie 17. When she messed up on 18, I thought this is probably over in a playoff, because now historically when we've seen her under a lot of pressure, there has been plenty of times where she's cracked. Mm-hmm. So for her to eagle the first time and then followed up with another eagle under the pressure of the playoff, that's what really impressed me, was the playoff performance. Because that's something where like, you know, yes, she came from behind, so yes, it wasn't like she was trying to defend a lead or whatever you might want to say, but like to win in a playoff, you got to be clutch. Yeah. The pressure doesn't get higher than a playoff. Every shot matters, and so to be able to do it in that fashion really impressed me. Scrolling down the leaderboard, players I was unimpressed with that I thought might have done better at a course like this. Really, the big one to me was Henna Blomroos. 6 over for the tournament, came in 15th. Paige Pierce, like I said, really great on the putting green, but overall she came in 11th at 4 over par. I didn't necessarily expect too much out of her. The players that this is
I mean, goodness, that drop after 5th is crazy.
Yeah, 10 under to 1 under.
That's brutal.
The players that this doesn't really mean much to me, their performance is Silva Saarinen. Just doesn't have distance. So honestly, she shot a 6 under final round.
Wild.
Very impressive. She got to 1 under for the tournament. Same thing with Owen Scoggins. And I would have liked to have seen Missy Gannon play a little bit better. I think I even put her in my top 3. I think she could have. But again, this isn't a course that I think a Missy Gannon, like this is Missy Gannon's course. So
I think Macy Vela Diaz is going to be very interesting to watch and see if this is just a flash in the pan or if she, I mean, I think, is this her first year back full touring now? I believe so, because last year she became a mom. Yeah, and Kat Mertz right there as well. She played well in that last round, and she's going to be dangerous this year. I think that I'm excited where the field looks.
I'm excited
after
to
one
see
event.
Kristen get in.
Well, right, but even you know, Kristen in that event, it's not an event that I watch and I'm like, oh, if Kristen were here, like
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if she would have won. Like
that's what I'm saying. I'm excited to see Kristen mix into there and see like, is that actually true, or she show up and we're like, shoot, okay.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I felt like watching this, it wasn't a tournament where I'm like, if Kristen was here, she wins by 10.
I don't think so.
This felt like a tournament where like, if Kristen was here, she might have been in the mix, but I don't think she is a walk-on, like a guaranteed win. So I'm excited to see her get in the mix there. I believe she's starting at Waco. Now over on MPO side, we had the Milkman, the Peach Pirate, Ezra Robinson,
Our
Team
boy,
Foundation.
Come on.
This is the first
1-0
non-owner, so Team Foundation sponsored player to win a Pro Tour event.
Wow.
Because I think by the time Gannon won, he was no longer on Team Foundation. But we have uncovered 2 gems, Gannon Burr, Ezra Robinson.
Yeah,
should we start a new tradition that every time Ezra wins, we get milkshakes?
No,
I can't. Come on, I can't have that many milkshakes.
Yeah, that's a lot of milkshakes.
Okay, fine. A shot of milk. One milk shot.
We can do 1 milk shot.
No, we should have had that ready for the podcast. We'll get it ready next time.
Yeah, milk shot. We should have all had Oreos too to dip in the milk. Anthony Barella came in 2nd, and then Paul McBeth, 3rd place finish. Again, looking in on this final round, AB was really looking great all weekend, and he was holding a 3-stroke lead entering the final round. Actually pushed it to 4 on hole 1. Really was looking very solid to defend, and like I said, birdie on 1, he was fine on 2 and 3, but hole 4 is where things kind of fell apart here. He switched up his game plan. He was going over the top. He decided to kind of go more conservative down the middle. Was it just because he had a lead? Was the weather conditions different or something? I don't know. I haven't really heard him say why, but he switched it up on hole 4, ended up going OB twice, kicked OB twice, and triple bogeyed it.
Kicked and rolled. The roll was brutal.
Triple bogeyed it to Ezra's birdie. So he lost 4 strokes on that hole, also losing the lead. And then Ezra just never looked back. He just kept his foot on the gas, ended up shooting a absolute scorching 12 under course record to secure his first Disc Golf Pro Tour win. During that final round, he was 100% in Circle 1 and 50% in Circle 2 putting. And that stat doesn't really do it much justice. If you watch it, there was a ton of like really difficult putts in there, like some Circle 1 putts where he could see like half the basket and he was just pouring them in.
It was insane. You could like hardly see him in the woods.
Yeah, especially during that initial stretch, which I think was very important, is he went on a little bit of a birdie streak he got 2,
right
3,
at the
4.
Right time.
Yeah, he got 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Which during that stretch of 2, 3, 4, 5, so he was 4 under. AB was 3 over. He gained 7 strokes.
Yeah.
Obviously, 4 of them were on one hole, but still during that time, and then AB kind of recalibrates, got a birdie on 6, and Ezra was able to respond straight back with a birdie on 7. So Ezra went, 5 under in a 6-hole stretch right there to kind of start, and I think it just kind of beat down AB a little bit.
Oh, it took all the wind out of
because
sails.
like how it probably felt like in that moment like this guy's unbeatable.
Yeah, I say you start the round and it already, after parring 1, he's already heating up, and AB was scrambling for those pars. Really.
Yeah.
He was not throwing it well. It was nervy. He was actually putting well to make those pars. So you're already nervous, and then just the gut punch of losing the lead, a multiple stroke lead to multiple stroke deficit in one hole is just a gut punch. And then it was a round where Ezra was unbeatable. I mean, you can look at it, the round obviously could have gone a number of ways, but if you look at it at face value, AB would have needed 9 under today just to tie him, which is a really good score. But that's the reality of the Pro Tour, and he knows it because he has won in that kind of dominant fashion, especially these 3-day events. You have to be prepared for people to make insane charges. I mean, you look at even some guys that rushed up the leaderboard from behind. Calvin shot 10 under that final round.
10 under with a triple bogey on 17.
Yeah,
by the way.
He was on fire.
Like Calvin was sitting at 13 under through 16 holes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Triple bogeyed 17, parred
was brutal.
18, shot 10.
So yeah, it was just not his day. Ultimately, Ezra was not going to be denied, and it turns out him and Isaac both, when they are on, it is just a
I would love
a thing
to know
of beauty to watch.
what gene that is, and like, can I buy it?
And also, not to mention, he's just throwing backhand turnovers everywhere. Like, this was a course where like everybody was leaning on their forehands. You needed it out there, and Ezra was like, nope, I'll just throw a giant turnover and just get somewhere near the basket and then make a putt. Like, it was crazy.
His putt is popping off right now.
It's
what happened?
bananas.
He just practiced, I guess.
Yeah,
That would seem.
Turns out he got good at putting.
Well, yeah, if you look at it statistically, Ezra Robinson led in birdie rate, bogey plus rate at only 2%. Bogey plus rate. He also led in fairway percentage, park percentage, Circle 1 and Circle 2 in green and regulation. So he just dominated the accuracy stats.
And he built confidence, but the way that he plays, like, because when AB is playing at his best, he plays this way too, like very much no reservations, full sails ahead. That's the way that Ezra was playing. Hole 1, he's already running a 50-footer with a cliff behind him. He was playing very aggressive. He throws the disc with just full confidence that he is going to execute his shot in full commitment. And when you're playing well and you've got that strategy at your back, you're just going to you're terrifying to play because it looks like you can do no wrong and you have no fear.
It's got to feel good to get a win like that and then also shoot the course record at the same time, because it just means that you won because you played the best. Like, no one else was going to play as good as you.
Yeah.
There's no flukes going on.
The other, some other fun stats is he was the one of only 3 players to not throw OB all weekend, joining Kyle Klein and Chris Clemens.
Yeah, he was bogey free that last round.
This also allowed him, he gained 26 strokes on the field, tee to green.
Unbelievable.
The next closest was Aaron Gossage at 18.
Wow.
So 26 tee to green. It just shows, he putted very well, but he just outthrew this field.
Yeah, and
it honestly is very similar to what we've seen from his brother at Worlds, where it's just like these guys, when they get hot, again, I don't know what it is, but they can just walk out and place a disc.
Oh yeah, it's just point and shoot.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And then on top of it,
laser beams.
when they're throwing the disc that well, it's like their momentum carries their putting green to where even when they mess up a little bit, they're making the putt.
Yeah, no, the basket looked huge to him. You could tell it was just that.
He was pouring it in.
One thing that I didn't think about till now that is so funny is that they're obviously brothers and they obviously grew up playing disc golf together, I'm sure, but their form looks so different.
Yeah.
Which is so
They
funny.
both-
Like you feel like it would be somewhat similar, which I mean, of course, it's somewhat similar. They have the same.
There is a
ideals in their
similarity
form,
though
but-
in that they both have like a very quick jerky
True.
motion. So
Yeah.
there actually is some similarity there, just not. Yeah,
Yeah, it's funny.
they have different builds though.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Overall, the course played a lot easier. Ezra won at 29 under this weekend versus AB at 18 under, and Edwin actually broke this down because you might be wondering why, right? Like it wasn't like there was crazy course changes. What exactly happened? So Edwin broke down the stats here, and if you look at it, fairway and circle one and green and regulation, so the more accuracy that also would factor like if the course was playing a lot softer, there wasn't a significant change there, so players weren't throwing significantly more accurate this weekend. But if you look at statistics compared to last year, Circle 1X and Circle 2 putting were both better. Circle 2 was significantly better. So Edwin's thought is this is potentially attributed to the weather improving a lot this weekend. They had near perfect weather this weekend, but he's also going to be tracking, like, is that just a trend? Maybe people are just going to be putting better this year. But yeah, a significant improvement, and most of it came on the putting green, which, funny enough, AB's putt was insane this weekend. If you look at him, 92% C1X putting. Big one here, 63% Circle 2 putt on the weekend. He went 10 for 16 on the weekend.
that is better than my C1X putting.
And he... Oh, better than your C1X. I was like,
C2,
yeah, that's better than all of our Circle 2 putting, Trevor. But yeah, C1. And his total putt distance, he also led the event at 1,042 feet of putts made, which, I mean, if you're putting 63% from Circle 2, that's going to make sense.
That's ridiculous.
So he was reining them in. Other player, obviously, you got to talk about was Gannon Burr. He finished tied 12th this weekend, finishing outside the top 10, which Edwin pointed out matches how many times that happened to him all of last year. So to match last year, he has to not finish outside the top 10 again.
Wow.
It looks like his putter is what really let him down. He was 84% from Circle 1X, but only 14% from Circle 2. He was
bad.
2 for 14 from Circle 2. So that definitely let him down there. And then Aaron Gossage last year had a very good performance here, and he was co-leading in fairways hit percentage and Circle 2 and green and regulation with Ezra, but his putting was atrocious. He was 77% from Circle 1 and only 1 of 21 from Circle 2.
Yeah, it just doesn't cut it in MPO anymore.
So if he would have putted from Circle 2 like AB did at 63%, he would have gained 12 strokes better, and he would have tied for second with AB instead of finishing in 18th.
All I had to do was have a historic putting weekend.
Yeah. Now the other thing was
Instead of not.
Other thing that I thought was interesting is Discraft will probably say this a lot this year, minus when Gannon plays better.
Top 4.
Discraft took the top 4. At one point they had the top 6, but you had Ezra, AB, Paul, and Rick in there, which is obviously going to have implications for the Manufacturers Cup. Ricky Wysocki looked very comfortable out there. You know, he got to 20 under par. What's funny is like so many players, obviously better weather, but so many players would have beat last year's score. Calvin would have tied for the lead last year in 5th place.
I think most of the good players of this tournament looked fine.
Yeah.
Like, there obviously were people clicking on different cylinders, but nobody was like, there wasn't at least a long list of people that were alarming. Like, ooh, like that's a, like, I would say there's one right there, Antela.
Nicholas Antela was the big one.
That was probably the biggest one.
He missed the cash line, shooting only 3 under for the tournament. You had Ezra Aderhold finishing pretty low, but you know this course I wouldn't say necessarily plays to his strengths. But another player, obviously, we got to highlight is Paul Macbeth. He started out the final round, double bogey, which could have really thrown things off, but he still was able to get back to 7 under par and secure solo 3rd place, which is a very great start to the season. Last year, the start of the season was very questionable, a lot of injury stuff going on. He couldn't really trust the disc when he was throwing it because he couldn't trust his shoulder. So some good signs for Paul fans that he was able to come out here and play very solid golf, coming in 3rd there.
I've honestly, watching Paul now, like, I feel like my take has shifted to almost a positive take where if you watch him, like, still, if you watch him play, you're kind of like, it's like at times he's just holding on to it by a thread, and then he finds these hot streaks, and then he'll do something crazy. I'm almost impressed and amazed how good he is to make as many mistakes as he does and play as inconsistent and shaky at times and still end up taking third place at this tournament. Like you're watching him.
You definitely have the feeling that like he could win any weekend.
Well, right, because you're watching him and you're just thinking like, wow, he's just not quite complete. And yet he is beating many of the best players in the world. And so it's kind of like, man, if he can just straighten it out. I mean, there really was only one player. I mean, AB obviously got him by a stroke, but there's really only one player outclassed him and a guy who went nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like Paul has to get a win this year.
I think he needs one, obviously, because the first time winless in a long time last year. And if he goes back-to-back years winless, I think that would just be kind of
hard to win. But I think
shocking. It's much harder to win in today's field than obviously historic fields, but still.
It was his home course though, so we'll see.
But it does also show that like if he did go back to a super intense practicing routine like he used to do, then he would just be probably right back at the top.
So you think the issue's the off season? He's not hitting it the same.
Oh,
I don't think he's. I think he's still perfectly capable of really good disc golf. To me, it just seems like he's not pouring into it the way he used to.
Okay.
That's what it
putting
seems
Paul
like
in
to
the
me.
hot seat.
Yeah, that's the Paul seat.
Just throw him on an island out there. No, I mean, yeah, I don't think there's any doubts that disc golfers can have a lot of longevity, and I don't think there's any doubts that Paul can get back to a version of himself that is still very dominant.
Oh, absolutely. It makes sense. He's got a lot more going on right now that he's like running than he used to, I guess. But also he has a kid now. We know that kind of has to do with it too. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, you can look at him. He's not in as good of shape as he was.
Wow,
that's not. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with saying
he's
that.
Not practicing. Now you're coming after his looks.
You can look at him and know he's not in the shape. He's not in the like, I'm gonna bloodthirsty win disc golf shape he was in years ago. So he's obviously not pouring into it as much.
Oh my god!
You guys are making a big deal out of it. There's nothing wrong with what I'm saying right now.
Wow.
Oh my
I didn't think you had it in you, Mr. Nice Guy.
Konner might actually be.
That wasn't
Konner's
mean.
on his villain arc.
That was not mean for me to say.
Konner's on his villain arc.
Goes after Rick one week, and then his so-called
he flips
hero,
on Paul the next. What's next? Ken Climo?
Yeah. Oh, phew.
Oh no, I'm in love with Ken Climo.
But apparently, if Ken Climo puts on 10 pounds, you're gonna flip on him.
Whoa! I didn't say Paul put on 10 pounds, Hunter.
Oh, my lips are zipped.
That's crazy.
I didn't say. I'm not the one that said he looked any different.
That's crazy.
I was just assuming that's what you must have meant.
That's crazy.
That is wild, Con. But
a
okay.
A lot of controversy.
I don't think
you know what? We should have a
title
segment,
the episode
Konner Controversy, and we just let Konner go for 10 minutes.
I think we should
just
title
see
this episode,
what corner he backs himself
Konner
into.
thinks Paul McBeth is overweight. We'll just title out the episode.
Now,
Whoa!
No one said that,
Shoot!
Trev. No one said that.
I'm pretty sure they did.
That's
I'm pretty sure they did.
All I said is Paul is not in the same shape he was in years ago whenever he was obviously training harder than any other disc golfer in the game. He's not training harder than any other disc golfer in the game.
How do you know he's not training harder?
Because look at him. And look at his game. I already said this. You want me to just say it louder? He's not in as good of shape as he once was. He's also not playing as good of disc golf as he once was. You said he looks shaky. He's inconsistent.
Who said he looks shaky?
You said he's some
shapy.
No one said he looked shaky.
That's not true. You said that he at some point looked shaky in the round.
I didn't.
Trevor did. Trevor said he. No, it's obvious because what was said in this podcast about Paul's game, it's inconsistent and at sometimes he looks shaky. That's the exact opposite of the Mick Beast that we all know. He's extra consistent and he looks like a robot that nothing can stop. So he's obviously not practicing as hard and he's in worse shape.
So, injury watch, we have James
And he's fat! I'm just kidding.
Wow, clip that, chat. James Proctor and Sullivan Tipton, injury watch there. Proctor DNF'd and Sullivan Tipton did not play. Sullivan seems like a little bit less serious.
Yeah, that was really sick, Sully.
Yeah, Trevor picked him for his dark horse pick.
Super sick.
So, thanks for the win there. Oh, I need to update our points. I'll do that for the next preview show. And then James Proctor, he
might be on the hot seat.
His elbow locked up. I believe it was his elbow.
Oh, I have a real hot seat once we're done with this.
His elbow locked up when he was throwing, and it seems like it kind of went tingly. And
he said it was
he's going to see the
bruised and
doctor.
swollen.
Yeah, he's going to see a doctor.
Great.
So most likely, it seems like something popped in there, but who knows?
You guys want to know the biggest story of the tournament?
Yeah.
Sure.
I got a hot seat for you guys. Hot seat is the Little Red food truck at the event.
I did see this on Reddit.
Wait, what?
So somebody on Reddit said, did anybody else attend this tournament, buy food from the Little Red food truck, and walk away completely disappointed? $25 for 2 bowls that probably didn't weigh 3 ounces each. Probably a quarter cup of mac and cheese, half ounce of brisket, and 4 limp and greasy French fries. I've had larger free samples at Sam's Club.
That's tough.
So there you go.
Dang.
Well, that is a good segue into the segment that I'm calling Reddit's Thoughts, where I'm just going to go over to Reddit and see what did Reddit think.
Nice. I like that.
What did Reddit think?
Reddit
First,
reads.
we had Arc of Verge said, this might be an unpopular opinion, but the winner's buddies need to give a little space for the card mates he just beat to shake hands before rushing in. I felt terrible watching AB, who already had to deal with losing the lead, forced to stand there waiting awkwardly to congratulate Ezra.
I understand that. I think that makes perfect sense, but that didn't even come to mind whenever I was watching it because it's like, wow, this is such a sweet moment. Look at Ezra. I love him. He's happy.
I noticed it right away. And listen, I'm not going to make a huge deal about it because it's not the end of the world. But I am saying that is, and it's also not Ezra's fault because he was swarmed. But for the buddies, it would be better sportsmanship if you let the opponent shake hands with his competitors instead of making them wait and watch you get swarmed. Like, let him shake hands, do what he's got to do, and then give him a hug.
Well, I think
it's not gonna change anything. He's not gonna be like, why didn't you guys run out and hug me right away?
I mean, really, to me, it comes down to the Pro Tour. I think that how those guys should have never been able to get inside Circle 1, because to me, the moment is about Ezra, right? And his brother was his caddy, so you're gonna have the caddy hug. I have no problem with that. But if you let the moment be there,
you're already extending this take longer than I wanted to for the comments' sake.
I don't care about the comments' sake.
Okay.
I'm just calling it how I see it. You have his brother's caddy, whoever's his caddy, doesn't matter. I'm fine with the caddy hug. That's going to bring the emotion out. He's crying because he just won a Pro Tour event. And you're still, the moment should happen where his competitors shake hands, the trophy presentation, he finalizes his scores, all of that, right? And the emotion's there, the interview happens. And then you still get the buddy freak out as soon as he's walking off the green.
Yeah.
So all those moments still happen.
Yeah.
They just happen completely out of order. Because then it also kind of you can also look at it takes away from Ezra a little bit because then the moment becomes about the friend group and not about Ezra.
I'm not gonna
I don't
go
think
there.
it seems like
Yeah,
that.
I'm not going to go there. My only problem with it was that, you got to shake hands with your competitors first. And AB went to try to get in there and was basically shoved out of the way by people running in and hugging. It's like, all right, that's not the best. But once again,
not the buddy's fault, not Ezra's fault. I think it's the Pro Tour's fault. They shouldn't have been allowed in there. They were allowed in somewhere.
That's partially the buddy's fault. Just wait.
Well, but if you're stoked and you're going to run in, that shouldn't be allowed to happen is what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, I guess when the court is stormed, whose fault is it?
It is.
Who gets fined?
Well, the team gets fined, but they can't do anything about it.
Well, no, that's not true. The Missouri coach went over to the mic and was like, hey, guys, listen, do not storm this court.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Effort. It worked. They didn't storm it that time.
Yeah.
It worked.
Anywho.
Next,
so do you think that Ezra, before he made the putt, he should have said,
no, I said not Ezra.
Look, guys, do not come
not
give me
Ezra.
a hug.
Do not storm the
I didn't
court.
say one of the players from Missouri said it. Jeff Spring could have said. Jeff Spring could have walked over to the.
Who is Ezra's coach?
Yeah.
I'm saying the Pro Tour is the one I'm saying is at fault. So I think someone from the Pro Tour could have said, "Hey guys, y'all are going to be excited. I need you out of Circle 1 until everything's done. Then you're welcome
I
to rush
agree.
in."
Well, your take works too because it also means that none of those friends are mad at you right now.
No, it's not their fault. I would have rushed in.
To be fair,
it's not their fault.
They're all
It's
mad
not
at
Ezra's
Trevor
fault.
though.
Here's what we do know is that we have been talking about final putt green etiquette for years now, and they've never changed anything. So, clearly, the Pro Tour just doesn't care. So it was what it is.
Yeah,
I do like
because it's not hard. It is not a hard situation to control. But they've never changed anything.
Here's the way I feel about it, and I completely understand. Yes, I think in a perfect world, he should shake his competitors' hands first. But I also know from my point of view,
well,
just as
let's take a step back.
Oh. Whoa.
He shook their hands before they teed off on 18. So why are they shaking hands a second time?
It is true. Maybe that's part of the issue.
Okay, carry on.
But from a person who's just watching it, there is something electric to me about as soon as his disc drops into the bottom of that cage and he's now the winner of that tournament, like all his buddies coming out there and celebrating with him, is fun to watch.
What if there's a scoring
error? That's all I have to say. It's just fun to watch.
What if there was a scoring error? All the buddies come out.
I don't think it's the best way.
Hugs.
I just think it's fun to watch. That's
Hasn't
all I'm
been
saying.
validated yet.
That's his take.
Still is fun to watch.
That's his take.
Yeah. Second one was from Valuable Cry 6689. He said, Ezra tripping on that line just vindicated that kid, which if you don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I was saying, are we going to give our take on
If you
OB
don't know what
game?
he's talking about, on hole 16, I believe it was round 1 or 2, Simon Lazard, who at this time, like, it was still in the mix, threw a shot, skipped. It was definitely coming back in bounds. The scorekeeper was standing behind the cameraman, tried getting out of the way. Foot got caught on the OB string, popped the string up, hit Simon's disc, kept Simon's disc out of bounds.
Most unlucky thing of all time.
The string hit the disc. It was so unlikely.
The disc did not hit
it was the perfect storm
scorekeeper.
of unlucky, where you're unlucky to be in the path of the disc at all, and then you're unlucky to be behind. He was behind the cameraman, so couldn't. I think he was trying to be kind of out of the way, but then couldn't quite see in time, and then to also trip, and then for a tiny string to keep the disc. It's just unlucky. It looked like online, you had the hardcore Simon fans be like, I can't believe he just cost him a stroke. And like, there are always more precautions to take, but it's just something you have to let go because it was obviously an accident. It didn't decide the tournament.
At the end of the day,
golf,
really
they
big
shower
effect.
golf balls into the stands all the time. They land in people's pockets. They bounce off of people. People probably kick them sometimes, and they just don't talk about it because it's just like something that just happens. It's random. You can't control it to a certain degree, right? You can put them in their areas, but then, if the disc is out of bounds,
Also, it was potentially lucky for it to be coming back in bounds anyway. So it wasn't like it was the perfect shot that got shot down. Right. It got a lucky skip and a lucky roll that caused it to roll back towards inbounds.
Let me be clear. There has been egregious spotter situations. The through the legs hitting the chest situation, that was a rough one. But this one, it was just an unfortunate situation.
Well, I also think I saw some people online saying, why was a spotter, which he wasn't a spotter, he was a scorekeeper, there to begin with? He should have never been in the fairway. I could be wrong how I was viewing it, but how I was viewing it is he was probably exactly where he was told to be, behind catch cam, who was standing OB is what it looked like. Right. It looked like he was out of bounds.
Yeah.
Simon's disc is skipping, and to get out of the way of Simon's disc, he reacted and moved forward, which was moving back inbounds. He did a phenomenal job. His foot just happened to catch the OB string.
Yeah.
Which then popped up. Like, he got out of the way. He dodged it.
I thought it looked like he was backing inbounds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He backed over the string.
But that's what I'm saying. Is he looked like he was out of bounds.
Yeah.
Dodging the disc going in.
It's
So
just
it's not like
unlucky.
he was standing in the fairway.
It was just unlucky.
It was just unlucky. It was an
but
unfortunate situation.
Valuable Cry is saying, Ezra tripping on the line, maybe the lines were too high.
There we go.
Because Ezra he was like trying to line up, I think it was on 16. I think it was the same line.
The lines being that high was weird.
Why are the lines that high?
I don't know. I actually don't know how high they were. So before we have a take on that.
I don't know that.
I don't know.
Kind of high.
I don't think all of them were like that. I think
because
it was just
Ezra
a place
was
where the
walking.
ground was sloped.
Ezra was walking on 16, and like he was a little worried about it, and he like walked up, and when he was walking up, his foot got caught under the line and tripped a little bit. About the same area, could have been the same line. And then when he actually threw, he was fine. But that's what Valuable Cry saying.
They should auction off that line.
They should cut that section of the line out.
Famous moment in sports.
All right, Manufacturers Cup update here. So first off, I need to update you on how we're doing it this year. So we wanted to bring in FPO in to give a more rounded out version of the teams. We also wanted to try to factor and balance this a little bit more because you have a team like Discraft who is absolutely massive.
As much as we can try to.
Yeah. So this is how it's going to work.
Before Discraft kills everybody.
This year, only the top 6 ranked MPO players and the top 2 ranked FPO players will count for each manufacturer.
From the start of the season?
So team rosters are based on 2024 year-end Disc Golf Pro Tour rankings, and they're going to be updated after 5 events and every 5 events after that.
Okay.
So once there's a good basis for the season, the rosters will be updated, and then every 5 events, the rosters will be updated again. So to give you an example, we'll look at Discraft here. Discraft's top 6 players from last season: Ricky Wysocki, Paul Macbeth, Ezra Robinson, Anthony Barella, Chris Dickerson, Aaron Gossage. There's their 6. FPO, Holland Hanley, Paige Pierce. That's Discraft's 8-player roster. So missing it, you have Adam Hamez, Andrew Presnell, Ezra Aderhold, Callaway, Yuli, Kayla Visca, Val Mandahano, Alexis Mandahano, Paige Shue. You see why we did
many
the
players.
6 and 8. So they still have an advantage because there's more opportunity for players to like get into the top 6. So there's more opportunity. Some teams can't even field a full field.
Right.
Most teams can't. Really, the only teams that have extra players are Innova, Discraft, and Discmania. But what this will cause is how they score points, if you aren't aware, is when a player that's representing that manufacturer lands in the top 10, they earn that manufacturer points. So what this can cause, and this happened this week, is some players who aren't ranked in the top 6 for that manufacturer can still get in the top 10. They earn the manufacturer 0 points if that happens, but they also block other manufacturers from earning points. So still advantageous of the manufacturer. So let's look at the Supreme Flight Open now that you understand how it works. So Discraft jumped out to an early lead, more than doubling second place.
I'm going to predict they're not going to lose that lead.
I wouldn't think so. This was driven by taking the top 4 spots in MPO because you had Ezra, AB, Paul, and Ricky scoring that. So they have 88 points. Innova is in second place with 41.5 due to a strong showing from Calvin, Evelina, and Own getting in there. So that's where Innova really benefits from the FPO side because Calvin's the only player in the top 10 for MPO, but you had Evelina in second, and they actually weren't able to score points for Kat Mersch's fourth place because Owen Scoggins was the other player, but she came in 8th. So they still were able to get that. They have a very solid because Hannah Blomers could sneak up in there at any moment too. They have a very solid FPO team. So yeah, like what I was saying, since only top 6 ranked MPO and FPO, 2 ranked FPO for each tournament, there are 2 players that finished in the top 10 who won't be included. Adam Hammes is the other one for Discraft. So Kat Mercer just talked about Adam Hammes came in 9th. He would have earned Discraft an additional 1.5 points, but he didn't.
Also, shout out to Ellie Ezra for taking
I'm pretty
6.
sure Austin Turner might be signed by Discraft now.
He is back with Discraft.
I think he's back with Discraft, so he actually also earns Discraft no points because he falls in that same boat. So Adam Hammes, Austin Turner, both in the top 10, both not earning Discraft points. So the current standings, we have Discraft at 1, Innova at 2, Discmania at 3, DGA at 4, MVP in 5th, DD in 6th, Latitude 64, which could be a sleeper team. Obviously, they have Kristen Tatar when she gets back. Then you have Prodigy and ThoughtSpace down there as well. So with all of that, that's Supreme Flight Open. It's time for the fan favorite segment, Trevor's Trivia, right after these messages.
All right, chaps.
Trivia.
We're playing Price is Right today.
Yes, Trev. You know exactly
I'm actually
what to
very
do.
excited about this one because I think I got a really fun balance of like relevancy and then just some really random ones. I'm pretty excited. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we're going to play it differently. We're going to play true Price is Right. If you go over, you automatically...
So closest without going over.
Closest without going over wins the point. And we're not going to go like differential, just you win the point or not.
Closest without going over.
So if Konner goes first and I think he's over, I can just say 1.
You can say 1, correct. And we'll rotate who goes first. Okay. Konner, you'll go first to start.
Okay.
First item is a brand new...
What is it? Can I ask a question? What's the point in any game ever doing the without going over thing?
Just adds an extra element of like being able to like just kind of take a chance on thinking somebody was over and then guessing $1 and then you could be massively wrong.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a reason. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably like a game show probability, their finances reason, but
that makes sense. I don't ever like
Price is Right.
It's probably because a lot of people like, oh, I bet this might actually be what it is.
Oh, hit them with us.
Of like they typically price something like $299. So if you say $300, you went over.
Yeah,
so
but
it's like
you did a really good job because you got so
close.
But
like but it's probably for like their insurance reasons or whatever, of like making sure less people do it because you probably think of something and your mind thinks in round numbers. So you're like, this is probably a $1,500 phone.
Yeah,
but also it doesn't matter.
But it's actually
the other person
$14.99.
wins. So like there's still one winner.
Yeah, that is.
So it doesn't
true.
change the
winning.
amount of winners.
It makes it easier for the
I
other
don't know,
person
man.
to
You're
win
the one
now.
that said insurance.
We'll figure it out. Somebody comment down below
because it just doesn't make any sense. Like you did better if you're closer. Like
well,
you're better.
You
at
went
the
over.
Game. But you're better at the game.
Not better at the game because the game had very specific rules.
True.
You can't go over.
That's very true. I just think it's a
worse
rule.
at the game, better at guessing.
I don't like the rule. I understand why Trevor's going for it because it's a common rule to use. I just don't like it. I was under
Price is Right.
I just wanted to see if anybody knew the origins. I'm sorry, Trevor. I didn't mean to derail you. Hit him with it. It's a brand new.
I mean, I'm googling it now.
Oh,
okay. Way to go!
Because now
I'm glad I at least have interest.
They can't go. I mean, this rule. This rule encourages contestants to carefully consider their bids, avoiding the temptation to bid too high and risk by preventing overbids. It ensures everyone has a fair chance to win based on their accuracy and estimated.
Everybody has a fair.
Okay, hold on. There's a Reddit thread. This is where I really want to. AI is nonsense. Oh my gosh. As a shopper, it's not recommended to pay more for an item than it's worth. Same idea. Like, is it just like I don't know. Somebody commented if you have a better answer. Okay, first item, Konner. Discraft,
yes,
brand new, 4-claw zone, signed by Paul Macbeth.
A 4-claw zone. Can I get some color?
I believe it was like a darker color, maybe like a grayish black, not blackout, but like
Not
grayish black
blackout,
with like a rainbow claw.
Ooh, rainbow claw.
Yeah, brand new 4-claw, signed
brand
by
new
Paul.
4-claw, signed by Paul.
Brand new 4-claw.
I know these were going for like a lot
Very good hunt.
back in the day.
Yeah.
I think Paul's ink doesn't typically devalue a disc, especially. So I think I'm gonna go, but I don't want to go over.
Don't want to go over.
Don't want to go over.
See, look at that. What an element.
What an element that made to this game.
Yeah. Really changed
Because
things
now,
up.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
When was the sale?
When was it sold? Oh, I think all this stuff was sold in the last couple days.
Last couple of days, you say. Last couple of days, you say.
Yeah.
$185.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go 1. I think it was less.
It was sold for $200.
Oh.
What a bid.
Dang.
Yes.
I was thinking 150 in my head.
I was thinking 211.
So there's an element there, Con, is with the $1 thing, yes, it allows Hunter to just basically have the 50-50 shot, but it also means if he goes that way, he completely has no chance of getting closer than you. Like,
no,
he's
but it
not,
doesn't matter if he gets
he's not
closer
trying to,
because we're only playing for points. We're not playing for.
So if I think he went over, I'm never going 186.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, by
Because even the other way, I would have went 184 if
by
I thought he went over.
Right, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess
either.
I was just trying to say, like, you're basically forfeiting your guess completely.
If we were playing, how close you were to the guess,
is how many points you get.
then it would have been different.
Because right now I'd have a huge lead over Hunter.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I think I'm
But
just
for this,
saying,
like I think he went over.
I don't think it ever makes any sense.
No, because I think if I thought he went over, I'm never guessing more than he guessed.
no, I don't know.
So I'm never winning the
I don't know what I'm
point.
getting
But I'm
at.
not against you.
No,
this is
you
a
didn't
common
make the
rule.
rule.
Yeah, this is a common rule to use. I just don't think the rule ever makes sense.
Yeah,
But I killed it.
This rule sucks.
Like I was so
it's like the 2 meter rule.
I was 184 points closer than he was, and I got 1 point.
Yeah, this rule sucks. Okay, next item. Hunter guesses first. New Innova Protostar stamped Champion Thunderbird
Protostar
is yellow.
35.
There's a rainbow stamp. 35. Konner.
45.
You Beth went over. Nobody
Dang.
gets the point.
Dang it.
It was 30. This rule sucks.
I almost said 25.
That's a cool
but
disc.
I was like,
$30.
Yeah.
Brand new.
That makes
$30, man.
and no one cares about anybody.
Next.
Man. I'm the only one.
Konner,
I
you're
know,
first. This is an Innova-made Discmania
Okay.
Iron Samurai 2. Brand new.
$70.
1.
It went for 75.
Are you kidding me?
Dude, Connor's kind of on right. He's been within 5 of every
Iron
single
Samurai
thing, basically. Or
2?
15. Yeah. Yeah, $75. Sold.
And the team stamp, you can't get a Protostar Thunderbird.
Listen,
That was
man,
like not mass. I mean, I guess it kind of was mass produced, but like a decade ago.
You got Eagle collectors though. Like it's
People don't think Innova's
Thunderbird
cool.
doesn't like it doesn't
People think
associate to
Discmania
anybody.
is cool, but they don't think Innova's cool.
What was the Iron Samurai not Discmania or not Innova made? The Iron Samurai 2?
It was Innova made.
Yeah. So that doesn't line up. You just bought an Innova. Tricks on
No,
you. You paid
it's
$75 for a piece of Innova plastic.
No, it's just
There you go. Joke's on you.
It's just
Paul
that
Macbeth's
it's
not
Eagle.
cool. That was a Paul
It
Macbeth
doesn't
disc
have
back
his
in the
name
day.
on it.
How dare them?
Okay,
That's okay. I'm only down 2 points.
This is where it gets spicy.
I'm already
Ooh.
spiced.
We've
Big
got
spice.
a test flight ESP Sagara. So these just
Is
released at
it
Supreme
my turn
Flight.
now?
No, it's
Hunter's
Hunter's turn. Just released.
$50.
No, I think they're going for more than 50. I think they're going for. But I don't think
Yeah.
they're going for much more than 50. So I'm actually gonna be protective
You
here.
can just go 51.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 51. I'm gonna go 51. Honorable mention though, I think it's 80.
It's 80.
What was it? 80 on the dot?
80 on the dot.
Man, you
I'm
would've nailed
popping
it.
off right
You would've
now.
nailed it. What was it? Test flight?
Honorable mention
Test
though.
flight, yes.
Test flight I can understand.
I mean,
I-
yeah, well,
Honorable
nobody
mention,
else
though,
has
I
their
think it's
hands
80.
on them yet.
Well, also test flight, like it's not like if you wait a few weeks,
Yeah.
you can get it.
Okay.
So that's fair.
Next up, Konner, you're first. We have an Innova Star Pig. This is from their drop they did. This is the Notorious Pig stamp, 1 out of 550. But this yellow with holographic purple was allegedly 1 out of 11. So in theory, it's 1 out of 11.
I just don't think people care that much.
Oh, man.
I don't know. I think I'm going to go $50.
I don't freaking know, man.
I don't know either. I feel like 50 is pretty safe. They were like 30 brand new, weren't they?
These discs did get a lot of press, and all press is good press. So people at least know this disc exists. So how much? What'd you say? You said 50?
Okay,
I'm going to say 51.
I did just have a thought as we're playing this. I guess where the $1 bid does make a much bigger difference is in Price is Right, you're bidding against 3 or 4 people. So you're not just saying 50-50, you're telling me 3 people all bid high and I'm going $1. It's not like this where it's like I can either say 51 or $1. It's 50-50.
Well, 51.
So it's much different when you're going against 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
That's important. It went for 80.
Yeah.
Because right now we might as well say higher or lower is basically the game.
Yeah, that is true.
So yeah, it makes a big difference. We're learning. Okay, this one's fun.
I'm not learning. I knew it was dumb.
Well, but do you still think it's dumb if there's multiple people?
Yeah, I still think whoever got closest was the best at the game. Was the best.
No, not the best at the game.
Price. Best at knowing the price. They got the closest to the right price.
You know what it eliminates is you can't have the price is 50. Konner goes 51. Yeah. I go 49.
Yeah.
You have to determine the winner.
True. But it also doesn't necessarily mean they're best at knowing the price because the person who said $1 might have known that they were all over it because they knew the price.
Well, I think your answer shows.
But I'm just saying that probably is where it rooted from. Is they probably were like, we're going to have people split on both sides. We need a tiebreaker. And they're like, let's just implement the tiebreaker before. No, it's the closest without going over.
I think that does make more sense.
That's probably how we got there.
That does make more sense.
We're growing a lot.
We're growing.
Okay, this is a fun one.
I'm not growing.
Hunter, you guess first.
Point.
You're down by 2. Climo Discs Skyway signed by Ken Climo.
Are these out of stock on his site yet?
I don't know.
They weren't as of like a week and a half ago.
Signed by Kenny.
25.
26.
It went for $65.
What the frick are people doing?
That's
a
crazy.
Proto Thunderbird, people. Protostar. You can't just go buy a Protostar disc whenever you want. And the Thunderbird's the greatest mold ever made.
Hunter?
He just came up with a mimic Wraith that's a little flippier and signed his ink on it.
Hunter has
That's
to get
crazy.
Hunter has to get all 3 of the last ones a tie, but these last 3 are all hecka random, and you'd have no reference for the prices at all.
Oh, that's what you think.
This is a vintage 1980 mold DGA Midnight Flyer used. This is the original Midnight Flyer.
$5 probably.
Konner's going first, please, respectfully.
Well, that was my actual guess. I knew Konner's going first. Just saying, people don't respect the history.
This is pretty historic.
But it's not released in the last two minutes, and it's not worth anything to me.
The Iron Samurai was years ago. That was worth a lot.
I think you sound like the people who get ticked off by our Whatnot streams.
Yeah, and I understand those people. It makes perfect sense.
I'm going to go with, I don't think it's going to be worth a crazy amount, but I don't think it's going to be worth less than 20. I'm going to go $30.
Where does he go?
30. That's a tough one.
You can just say higher or lower.
I will go. I'm gonna go higher.
So you'd say 31. Okay. The price was 45.
Okay, there we go.
All right, there's one. You need 2 more.
Haha.
Next we have, this is a fun one. So this is an Arobi Epic. Not only is it brand new, but it is in the original packaging, like the cardboard packaging. Brand new purple Arobi Epic.
45.
Higher.
$250.
I have no thoughts.
I know people freak out over this.
We won't do the last one, but I'll say it for fun. This was a very rare
Let me try to guess still.
Innova Blizzard Condor. 200 grams.
Condor?
And it was used.
I remember.
Wait, I've seen a Blizzard Condor.
These came out in our playing decade.
I mean, I think it went for probably $31.
$100.
I was gonna say higher.
Yeah, $100.
What kind of Innova stuff are people choosing to spend money on?
That's what I'm saying.
It's all.
Proto Thunderbird. Nah.
You got to remember.
Condor.
They're made a Blizzard Condor.
So
Blizzard Condor.
Here's how it works. If it's a new disc, like Hunter was referring to, then there is a market, right? Then you have people who are trying to get them for certain prices. If it's old stuff, it's just, do you have the right buyer? Do you have that guy out there who wants that Blizzard Condor?
And then
that's not even that old.
That literally sums up, I don't know when it
Blizzard
came out.
Plastic's not even that old.
Yeah, it's not super old. It's probably like 2010 to 2014 range.
I want to say 2016.
Blizzard Champ was introduced in 2010.
Wow, I got the beginning of that range.
When did the Blizzard Condor?
Boss.
Blizzard Plastic. I meant to put Condor.
I don't remember this disc.
I remember it.
I've seen it. I don't know why, but I've seen it.
Blizzard acquired Condor Games in February of 1996. You're going to want to throw
disc golf on there. Classic Google situation.
Classic Hunt.
Are these still in stock at Infinite?
Don't tell me.
That would be so fun.
Don't. Maybe they ran some like custom ones.
Out of stock. Yeah. But, okay, Infinite carried them at one point.
That doesn't tell us much.
Well, I remember them being in stock. So they had to be post-2015.
Yeah, it was probably a factory store
I think
thing.
I've held one.
It was probably a factory store thing, but the fact there are 200 grams in Blizzard Plastic is hilarious.
No,
okay, Blizzard Condor test. This is 2013.
So it was probably around 2013.
2013-ish.
That was before you started playing.
Yeah,
They probably carried them for longer than that though.
I've touched one.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I've touched one, but I've seen them.
I'd like to. I'd like to touch one.
Go pay $100. And you know what? If you got that type of money, pick me up a $20 and a pack of peanuts, Proto Thunderbird, while you're at it, please.
Pack of peanuts.
Thunderbird's such a good disc, people.
That's
Why
pretty
are you
crazy.
sleeping on
Brand new. That's silly. Like
I'm more upset that I missed out on it.
Yeah,
that's more what I'm upset about.
I have to get the next one, man.
You know what? And by the time I find it, now this podcast come out, it'll be $65.
Probably. We just drove the price up.
We just drove it up. You're welcome, next Proto Thunderbird
Are we going to be
person?
like the meme coin people, but for, oh my gosh, why haven't I thought about that? I'm going to try and like meme coin, like pump and dump with my own discs that I like. Dude, did you guys know that like DX Cobras right now are the next big thing? And then I'm going to list.
What you need to get on right now is the Glide.
I'm going to list three. Yeah, those are big right now.
Yeah, the Glide's hype.
Don't have any.
I don't either.
I think we basically do that whenever we like put our face
That's true.
on a
Shaman
disc and then push it.
Cash.
Yeah, but that's not the same. Like that is us buying a product to sell. That's not me
like
being like, I have these in my collection.
No, but the Shaman market's hot right now. Like if people have a Konner Shaman, they can flip it for like 30 some bucks.
But like that's product that we're
people
selling.
Flipping Konner Shamans?
They try to on our Facebook group page, and I always respond. I'm like, hey guys, restock's coming soon.
It's not like
buy at your own risk.
It's not like we created demand for that product and then bought 100 and sold them all on eBay for hundreds of dollars. Like that's not we're not doing it that way. We're selling them at retail price. And then other people can do whatever they want.
Before we update on Disc South, I do have to let you know the in the bag results are in for the year. So you already know Konner lost. He's gonna have to make 2020 footers.
I'm dead meat.
But the People's Champ was. It was me. It was me. I won.
Nice, Hunt.
So, it was like the closest
poll. It was very close.
It was so
Trevor
crazy.
took an early lead.
Some would
and
say
then
someone chose a good prompt.
Yeah. So you'll have me
I wouldn't
dropping.
say I lost.
Elbow says People's Champ coming soon. We'll have the stamp in soon. So we're excited about that. So Disc South, if you don't know, was in Disc Golf Expo down in Allen, Texas, just outside of Dallas. And we went down there. It was an absolute blast. My computer's not charging. But that's okay. It says power source, power adapter, battery is not charging, is what it says. So someone explain that one to me.
Right now either. I don't know why.
No, it says battery is not charging.
Oh.
Explain that to me. It says power source, power adapter, battery is not charging.
You need to change the plug?
My computer's probably broken. Anywho. Well, no, because it's plugged in. But battery is not, like, I don't think you're.
Yeah. Oh,
power
so the
adapter
is probably broken.
Battery is not charging.
So maybe it's the adapters. You blew a fuse.
But then how would it know it's plugged in and getting power?
I don't know.
There we go. Now it's charging.
Okay. I don't know how I became the bad guy there.
You just kept blaming on everything but the computer.
Oh, I just love him.
The computer was the bad guy, Trev.
I love him to death.
I just thought it'd be fun. Let's all. Originally, I thought this was going to need to be fill up more of the podcast, but
we've been yapping.
We're fine here. So let's all just say one takeaway from the Disc Golf Expo. Anything you want. It can be you got a cool disc. It can be someone you talked to. It can be someone you met. It can be anything you want. Highlight, low light.
I got one off the top of my head.
Go for it.
We all had a positive experience with this person, but Eric from Yikun, he's the, I believe the, like, is he the, I'm guessing he's the founder of Yikun.
I think so.
I think he's like he's the main man. He is Yikun.
He's the main man.
Talking to him was really cool because it like put a face and an actual like human person to a brand that I didn't really know anything about. And frankly, I just kind of assumed was a big Chinese company that was like, oh, Frisbees are easy, let's make those. And so I just kind of assumed that's what Yikun was.
Just a guy from China who's over there.
But it's just a guy. He literally
described.
He literally told me that Yikun is like his first baby.
He was super nice.
Like disc golf is so important to him, and making like discs is so important to him. It's just a guy who's.
Well, he's
super,
also
super
trying to do a lot to grow disc golf in China.
He did like their first A tier and B tier, right?
I think so.
He got the first ones put in, but
Eric's the man.
He's a really, really cool guy. It made me passionate about Yikun. Probably gonna put something Yikun in my bag.
He's holding a
You're holding a
Yikun disc right now that he gave me.
Yeah, no, Eric was very cool. I'll just say I'll name a cool disc that I got. There were a lot of cool discs at the Expo. All the Discraft stuff. They had Cigarros and the Ricky putter. Oh, we got our hands on the Ricky putter. It's like a PA3 and a dagger combo. It's like a deep PA3.
Felt really good.
Yeah, it did feel pretty solid. But I got a Supreme Raider, so watch out, world.
I think my highlight, I got to talk to just a lot of people, both in the industry and then just fans, and it was.
Oh, and the Kit Kat, the king size Kit Kat was big.
Got to meet Jay Milley for the first time.
Oh yeah,
talked a bunch with Eric McCabe and Avery Jenkins, just trying to name drop a bunch, Tyler Brickley. Just a lot of fun talking to a lot of people, but the big highlight was the meeting all of you who were there, coming up to the booth.
Yeah.
It's always nice to put faces to, because like right now I'm just looking at Konner, so this podcast for me might as well just be only for Konner. But there's a lot of you in the car listening, and it's always nice to shake your hand and talk to you and hear about how much you either love us or hate us. It's
pretty sure some guy said that he drove 20 hours and listened to our podcast the whole way, and that right there, he might be the #1 fan.
It's up there.
His IQ went down so much.
Him and I think it was Mike Magawai who
he watched
a Heiser Club member
everything.
Who listened to every grip lock that's ever come out, and he got into it. He got into it not like probably what it was like 2 years ago he started, and like we started this podcast before we opened this disc golf store, so I've been doing grip locked weekly for 6 years. That's like 300 some episodes. Not to mention the preview show started going on here. It's probably like 400 hours of grip locked.
That's a lot
that he cranked through.
That's a lot.
I met a lot of really nice people. A lot of really nice people. I met a guy named. I think the guy that we talked to for a long time, his name is Ty. He was the one that was a runner that used to run a ton. I'm pretty sure his name was cool. Ty.
He was
awesome. So I really enjoyed talking to him. And his daughter Avi was like the sweetest.
Avi was an
girl.
awesome.
She was awesome.
They interviewed us.
I was hoping it was on Brody's story, but it's not. I think it's on.
It was on Brody's story.
It was on Brody's story. I think it's still on Gannon's.
It was very. They were
nope,
an awesome
not on Gannon's anymore. Dang it! I was gonna shout out their YouTube channel, but yeah, that was a blast.
Also, Pete, OG Disc Golf.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Pete's awesome.
I like Pete a lot.
Alabama.
Pete was so nice.
He's the man. All right, well, it's time for the fan favorite segment. Oh wow, Trev, you just got replaced unintentionally.
Okay. So we've got context.
Silas selects.
We've got context.
Who's gonna do it?
Here's the context. Before Silas, I walked over his desk for the podcast, all funny, and I grabbed the Falcor from last episode and I put it in the bag, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Silas, don't even change this out. It's a new disc, I promise," like a joke. And then he starts throwing out that line of like, maybe I didn't change it, maybe I did, and we can do what we want with that information, but there's no way Silas would allow himself to get beat like that. But one of us does have to pick it. So I think we should draw straws.
I think we rock, paper, scissors.
I agree. Because somebody has to. Because if we're going to get a chance, we have to beat him.
But Silas is the most invested in this than he's ever been.
Whoever rock, paper, scissors lands on and you guess the Falcor, if it is the Falcor, it's a fair win.
Well, of course. Yeah, of course.
You'll be the first one to guess it.
Yeah, but if you get chosen to be the...
What?
I said what I said.
If you get chosen
what
to be
episode?
I'll find it.
Oh, okay.
All right, here we go.
I can make anything happen.
That's very mean.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I chose paper.
Wow, that was a perfect 1, 2, 3.
That was
all right. We're all still in. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I lost.
Okay.
So you're
No, it's me and you. We both went rock.
I thought it was odd man out was going to be the Falcor. Thought that's what you said.
No, winner. We're playing rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, you said odd man out. He was the odd man out. I want him to pick it is what I'm saying.
Well, he said he lost. I think we were on the same page.
I lost the game just then.
I don't want to be the one that has to pick it. So I thought it was like odd man out. Loser has to be the one to pick it.
Okay, that's fine.
I should pick it.
Because like I am 95% sure he didn't do it.
Falcor.
I think that he tried to get cutesy. So I think it's a Strider.
reverb.
I think it's a Strider.
Ooh, I was gonna guess reverb. Honorable mention reverb.
Oh, yeah, he may have just grabbed.
Honorable
something
mention,
for the same
$80.
shelf. I like where you're thinking there. I think it is a D model. D Model S.
That's a stupid pick, Trevor. Oh, it's not. This is the weight.
Feels like a mid-range.
Oh.
Well, that doesn't help.
Sick.
That helps you
Middle.
potentially.
It was a servo.
Sick.
Not a mid-range either.
He didn't get cutesy.
Dang.
Actually,
That was
he
a
got the
bummer.
opposite of cutesy because he picked one of the ugliest servos.
I like that color.
Poop
Hugsy.
brown. Looks
I
like
like that
diarrhea.
poop.
Got Mugsy.
Oh, and it's flippy now.
And now it's flippy. Well, that's the episode for this week. Hopefully you enjoy. We'll talk to you again next week.